Pope Francis has been extremely open and outspoken on a number of different issues that touch on society and different values and politics during his time as Pope. We're talking about poverty, we're talking about climate change, homosexuality, any number of different issues, reproductive freedom, a lot of different topics. And that same streak was on display during his recent trip to the U.S. Just today, he was hosted at the White House and gave a speech. We're going to show you a couple different snippets on different topics. The first gets into an issue that has been discussed a lot in America recently, thanks purely to Donald Trump, and that is immigration. Let's watch.
As the son of an immigrant family, I'm happy to be a guest in this country, which was largely built by such families.
Built on the backs of immigrants? What?
How dare he? Doesn't he know that Christians are supposed to kick the needy when they're down?
Yeah.
You don't provide them shelter like you bring them into the country.
Yeah.
What do you think? The Statue of Liberty says, give me your poor, you're tired, your huddled masses? No. This Pope, he doesn't seem to understand the point of America.
Yeah. Kick them when they're down, and if they're not down yet, put into place tax policies that make them go down.
Right. And this Pope's from Argentina. This is the point at which conservatives go, I knew it, man. That guy's from, he's Latin, Okay.
They already didn't like him. They heard one sentence of him speaking his obviously limited English because it's not his first language, and they were like, done, get rid of the Pope.
Okay, end of this. Okay, and his family is also immigrants to Argentina, as most people are. Argentina is very much made up of immigrants, like the United States of America is. So he can relate to that topic very well, coming from that country.
Okay, another topic that's being discussed in the country and also will be on the show a little bit later on is religious liberty. Here is the Pope speaking about that.
American Catholics are committed to building a society which is truly tolerant and inclusive, to safeguarding the rights of individuals and communities, and to rejecting every form of injustice, discrimination. With countless other people of goodwill, they are likewise concerned that efforts to build a just and wisely ordered society respect their deepest concerns and the right to religious liberty.
I like how Obama's doing the same thing we are, which is like leaning in, like, wait, what's he saying? This could be interpreted as right-wing. I mean, it could be
that could at the end,
Yeah, it could be interpreted as, hey, lay off of Kim Davis. She's got religious liberty, and you've got to respect our good Christian principles that we stand up for, even if it violates your laws and Constitution. So now, he didn't go that far.
And decency.
He just made a plea for religious liberty because he's the Pope.
Yeah,
right?
He likes religion.
So now the conservatives are super mad whenever he does anything liberal. Maybe it's partly because we're used to it. But if he has a conservative position, I'm not like, oh my God, I hate him now.
Yeah.
Right? And
you'd have to have like 3.
And if he's for religious liberty, I've never heard anything more logical in my life. I might not agree with his interpretation of religious liberty. That's because I'm deeply secular and I don't believe in any of these religions, and I don't think they should rule us. But if anybody cares about the religion and has a right to make that claim, it'd be the Pope.
Yeah. Yeah, and look, he said there that we should, respect it and understand it, and all of that is fine. And I think that you can do that while also barring it in cases, for instance, of a government employee refusing to do their government job that they're paid a very good government salary to do.
That's right.
And I think that conservatives would also actually like, earlier on when he said, be tolerant and inclusive. They don't like that, so he's starting to lose them. But then he goes on to say, rejecting all unjust discrimination. Kim Davis would say, well, that's fine. All of my discrimination is totally just. So he left a little bit of wiggle room there. And by the way, you were talking there about, we're not used to liking the things the Pope says. I was speaking with Edwin before the show started. Prior to Pope Francis, we literally had a Sith Lord as Pope, or at least in appearance. But we like what Francis says, but it doesn't become true because the Pope says it. It's just we like that he's saying it. So if he says something wrong, he's still just as wrong about all the God stuff. I just would like him to be a good-hearted person.
And by the way, the popes in the past, even though they were far more conservative, also said things that were totally in favor of don't torture people and don't start unnecessary wars. They were totally against the Iraq war.
Yeah, that's true.
Including the Sith Lord. Even
Exactly.
the Sith Lord was like, really? You're going to go to Iraq?
That seems fucked up.
He's like, Afghanistan, we're having a conversation. Really? You're going to Iraq?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you represent Jesus, you should generally be against war, I think.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Seems fair. I mean, I believe they call him the Prince of Peace.
Yeah. Not just picking up the pieces of what remains of the latest country we've invaded. Okay, now here's a little bit more Pope on climate change.
I find it encouraging that you are proposing an initiative for reducing air pollution. Accepting the urgency, it seems clear to me also that climate change is a problem we can no longer be left to a future generation.
That's when the Republicans are like, how dare he? This is their, before the Pope, they're like, oh, welcome, welcome, welcome. Now they're like,
shame. Shame. Shame.
now
Get rid of the Pope.
He called the earth our common home. And he said, I got an idea. It's God's creation. We could at least protect it, and we are charged with protecting it. Outrageous.
Yeah.
How dare he?
Yeah. Well, the problem, like, it seems reasonable. You think that if, like, the supreme creator of all that exists made this perfect world for you, you would want to take care of it. But unfortunately, we're also humans, and we are so self-centered and think that our experience is the most important one ever, that when you throw all of that obvious need to be, good stewards of the earth up against most Christians' belief that they will literally see the return of Jesus, so fuck it, what's the difference? It only needs to last another 20 or 30 years, then all of a sudden they don't care about protecting the world anymore.
Yeah,
if they could just get over that one thing about the return of Jesus, I don't think they're going to.
Unfortunately, some of the good Christians folks we have in this country, look at that public, but I don't understand, man, what's the point, man, is Jesus going to come back and know how anyway, we can't know the earth. So who, when Jesus come back, he's going to pick up my garbage, isn't it? He's not going to leave it like this, it's going to be heaven. So what the need for all this talk, man? Who turned the Pope into Al Gore? You know what I'm saying?
An inconvenient Pope.